Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Aardvark Accessibility Podcast. My name is Natalie Garza. I'm one of the co-hosts, and with me today is...
Natalie MacLeese, the other co-host.
And she is a digital accessibility expert here to answer our questions and talk to us about today's topic, which is how accessibility lawsuits have affected small business websites and also government websites. So, we're going to go through some statistics and then dive in. So, to get started, first one, we found that over 4,000 ADA lawsuits related to digital properties were filed in 2024, with a decline in federal cases and an increase in state level lawsuits, particularly in New York and California.
Yes, I think generally the decline in the federal cases is probably due to the change of the administration at the federal level and the administration demonstrating a different set of priorities around accessibility right now. So we see those cases kind of shifting to the state level. California has a Civil Rights Act, the Unruh Civil Rights Act that was passed in 1959, which does let plaintiffs claim $4,000 per violation, per person, per visit. So that does create an incentive structure for frivolous lawsuits. Unfortunately, not all accessibility lawsuits are frivolous, but there is a problem, I think, in the industry with abuse of using the judicial system for personal gain. And there are definitely legitimate cases, and I don't want to take that away from anybody, but there are also cases where it seems like nobody actually did go try to use the website, and then they file these lawsuits. So unfortunately, there's that incentive for that to happen. And it's meant to be an incentive for small businesses and government websites and things like that. It's meant to be an incentive for them to avoid those fines and fees and make their, it's not just their websites, right? That law applies to physical locations like having a wheelchair ramp for your restaurant and accessible restrooms. Like it applies to all different situations, but it does include websites. So it's meant to be an incentive for businesses and governments to make things accessible. And I think it has accomplished that to a certain degree, but I think it also has this kind of other unfortunate side effect that we see. And then in New York, there's not a specific law in New York that's causing the extra lawsuits there. I think it's just a friendly court district that happens to be in New York. And I know that there's a lot of family owned wineries in upstate New York that have been, for some reason, targeted by these lawsuits, which is also unfortunate that what's getting targeted are these small family run businesses. I agree that they should all have accessible websites and accessible premises. I think they should be doing everything that they can to make their websites and their shops accessible. But I don't think that filing many lawsuits and having serial plaintiffs for lawsuits is necessarily moving accessibility forward or encouraging the world to be a more accessible place.
Yeah, whenever you told me about this, I was very shocked to learn that it's not a requirement to reach out to the businesses first before filing the lawsuit either. Like, you can just find like missing alt text, and that's enough for you to be like, okay, well, I'm gonna file a lawsuit against you.
Yeah, it is unfortunate. And we have seen some judges start to push back a little bit, and they want to see proof that somebody did actually try to use the website and wasn't able to. Because what does happen in a lot of the cases is a lawyer or, probably a legal clerk or somebody who works for a lawyer will just go on a website, run an automated checker, and if they find issues, they put it on a list. And these are the people that they're going to find a plaintiff for and file a lawsuit against. So it is really unfortunate that it gets treated that way because these are laws that were meant to help people, and they were laws that were meant to make the world more accessible for everybody. So it's a little bit sad and frustrating to see it getting abused that way because I don't think that that's moving things forward.
No. I mean, in my opinion, I think it'd be more helpful and move it forward more if you just reach out to the website owner and say, hey, like, I can't submit your form. I'm a screen reader user, or like, I use my keyboard only. And then if they don't reply, then yeah, I mean.
Yeah, I would rather focus on let's get it fixed. Like, let's get it fixed and let's make everything better. But yeah, I mean, a lot of these small businesses, they have either built their website themselves or they've hired, just a little freelancer to do it for a couple $1,000s. And nobody in that situation has any idea that this is something that they should be looking at, right? They have no idea that they should need to be thinking about the accessibility of their website. And I think it's unfortunate that the way that they sometimes find out is getting a lawsuit pressed against them, when I think it'd be more useful if it was somebody getting in touch and saying like, "Hey, did you know that I can't use your website because it's not accessible," and to have them learn about it that way and then be able to take steps to fix it, I think would be the preferred way.
Mhm.
And I know I'm aware that not every business is going to suddenly go, "Oh no, let's fix it right away." that's that's not what's going to happen. And I think it's okay to move forward in those cases and try to force the issue, I guess, and try to push a business into making their website more accessible. But I do think there's some amount of education and outreach that should happen first.
Yeah, especially if it's a customer who truly was trying to purchase something or get in contact or learn something from their website. If you reach out and honestly just say, like, I was trying to buy this product and I couldn't check out with your form or something, they would be very inclined to fix that because they want your business, they want your traffic, they want you to interact with their website.
Yeah. And I can understand from the other side too that people with disabilities, they get worn out trying to do that kind of thing, right? Most websites have some kind of barrier on them. And can you imagine, like, if your day was just reaching out to every website you tried to use to tell them it wasn't accessible? Like, it's going to take up half your day. You got other stuff to do. Like, so I can understand it from that point of view too. It's a frustrating and unfortunate situation, I think, all around. And I hope the answer is to educate people and to make them understand why it's really important. And that would hopefully provoke them to take action on it and make the situation better for everybody.
I almost feel though like the website owners, like the business owners, like this should have gone back to the developers. Go check out our other episode on accessibility in website development.
Yeah, yeah. And then it gets hard to even put it on the web developers because it's not getting included in curricula when they're taking courses and learning how to do web development. It's not being included, which kind of communicates that, hey, that's not something that's that important. If you're interested, you'll go learn it on your own. And so it's just a big cycle of, I think, a lack of education and a lack of awareness that this is something that needs to be done. That hopefully we can break that cycle and start getting more web developers educated about it, more business owners educated about it. And then that just becomes the way you build websites. Like, it's not even a question, should we make an accessible website or not? It's, of course, it's going to be accessible, just like it's going to be responsive and it's going to be search engine optimized. Like, you wouldn't ask a customer, right? Well, do you want search engines to find your site? Well, of course they do. Why else do they have a site? So I think it would be just like that. Like, it's not even a question, it's just an assumption that this is how we're going to do it. I think that would be the ideal situation to get to.
Exactly. But alas, we have the laws of the land that right now.
And the imperfect world that we live in.
Next statistic that I found, repeat lawsuits are common, with 1 in 4 lawsuits filed in 2024 involving companies that had already been sued in the past.
Yeah, I think sometimes companies are very quick to settle these cases, right? Just settle out of court and pay a certain amount of money to the person who brought the suit against them. And I think that unfortunately sets up another incentive structure, right? To just say, like, oh, well, we can sue those people and they'll just give us money and won't even make us go to court. So we are unfortunately, I think, setting something up like that. And I don't know how often those businesses are actually taking action. The businesses that are getting sued again, like, I would hope that that was because they had refused to do anything about their website. But I don't know if that's actually the case, or if it's something where they've started working on it and they've started making improvements. But it's not like you can overnight make a website go from inaccessible to accessible. And so I do wonder if sometimes it's Like, unfortunately, they're already trying and they're already working on it, and they're not really getting the room to do that in time. So it's another tough situation, I think.
And not only are there repeat cases for the same companies, there's repeat filers.
Yeah. Yeah. So the same person coming back again.
And that leads into the next statistic. 24.5 of ADA lawsuits in 2023, so a year before, were against websites with accessibility widgets. So if a company gets sued, they'll settle it, and they could either go two ways: actually try to fix it, or maybe try accessibility widgets, which are not a good idea.
Yeah. Because they'll probably see some marketing that says, oh, make your website accessible in 5 minutes, which is very misleading. And then they do that and then they get sued anyway because that doesn't actually work. That's unfortunate. And I do think we're starting to see a little bit of evidence that maybe those widgets actually make a website a target for a potential lawsuit because they are like, you wouldn't have put that on your site if you didn't have accessibility issues. And we know that that widget isn't fixing 100% of your accessibility issues.
Yeah, and they're easy to scam for.
They're very obvious when they're installed on a site. It's not a secret.
All right. So those are just a few of the statistics. We didn't get to go over all of them. We will make a part two to go through the rest. So with that said, we wanted to introduce a little accessibility testing tool called Aardvark.
Yeah, so if you are responsible for a website for a small business or a government entity and you want to know what's the state of the accessibility on that site, come on over to aardvarkaccessibility.com. You can scan the homepage for free, find all the issues that are on there, and get instructions on how to fix them.
Yes, and with that, we will talk to y'all next time. And for you YouTube viewers that stick around, we're going to do the segment in this podcast where we do our thumbnail for the episode. And this week we picked
See no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil.
Monkey Edition.
Monkey edition.
So I'll cover my eyes like this, and then Natalie can cover her ears, and then we'll put the emoji monkey for speak no evil.
Okay. Since there's not three of us here.
No, we'll have the monkey say.
Okay.
All right. So you go ahead and do,
Hear no evil.
and you might need to move your mic out of the way, actually.
Oh. The hear no evil monkey looks really excited about hearing no evil. He's like,
And then our little monkey will do this. All right. And with that, we're going to cut.